In the previous session we discussed about the Reynolds equation which gives the analytical results for the Towers experiment. So in this session we will continue our discussion on the Hagen-Poiseuille law, where this Hagen-Poiseuille equation gives the relationship between the rate of flow of the fluid, relationship between the rate of flow of the fluid through the capillary, through a capillary tube, with the factors such as viscosity of the oil, then the pressure development and the diameter of the capillary and the length of the capillary. So this law gives the relation between the rate of fluid flow, that is Q, in the capillary tube with the factors such as viscosity of the oil, pressure developed in the oil, diameter of the capillary and the length of the capillary tube. Okay. So here we have certain assumptions, because any derivation will start with the assumption. So the first assumption of this law is the flow is considered to be laminar and steady and laminar. Then second one, the viscosity of the fluid is considered as constant or assumed as constant. Then the fluid is assumed to be incompressible, and the fluid used here which obeys Newton's law of viscosity. There is one more assumption. Then the last assumption is the pressure at the left hand end of the tube is higher and decreases gradually along the length of the tube from left to right. So pressure at this end will be maximum and it reduces when the flow takes place in this direction. So as the length increases, the pressure decreases. That is what the assumption made in this law. So here a capillary tube is considered, a capillary tube, something like this. It is a tube. In the side view it will be something look like this. It is a capillary tube, okay, with the radius capital R. Inner radius is considered from center to the inner wall of the tube is capital R. So this is the capillary tube. The flow will be in between the capillary tube like this. So for the derivation purpose, a small elemental cylinder of fluid is considered. So this is the small elemental cylinder of fluid. For any derivation we are going to consider a small element first, then we are going to integrate between the limits to get the general values. So similar way is adopted here. A small elemental cylinder of fluid is considered of radius small r, then the thickness dr, thickness of that elementary fluid cylinder dr, and which is having the length dx. So the length will be perpendicular to the board. In the side view it is written, so length of the element of fluid considered is dx, and the radius is small r, the thickness is dr. Okay. So this is the pressure P at left hand end, and since it is assumed to be decreasing as the length increases, so at the right hand end it is assumed as P minus dP. P in the left hand end and decreases, so minus the variation of the pressure through the length dx. This is the variation of the pressure through the length dx, which is decreasing. So P minus dP will be the pressure at the right hand surface, P is the pressure at the left hand surface. Then tau is the shear stress developed along the circumference of the tube at the top surface and at the bottom surface. So if you consider a tube, top and bottom, there will be shear. Okay. So this is the general representation of a capillary tube, and a small elemental fluid is considered, and the pressure distribution and the shear force distribution, shear stress distribution. So again the elementary cylinder of fluid is considered having a radius smaller and the length dx and thickness dr. the forces, because we need to end up with we need to apply the equilibrium equations. Okay, to apply equilibrium equation we need the forces, because equilibrium equations states algebraic sum of all the horizontal forces equal to 0, horizontal algebraic sum of all the vertical forces equal to 0. Okay, so we need to get the forces, but if you consider fluid flow, there will be pressure. You put any material in certain fluid, there will be pressure between or throughout that element. So you will find the pressure here. We need to convert that pressure into the force to apply in the equilibrium equation. So considering the forces at the left hand end, pressure force at the left hand end, pressure force. So P is the pressure, acting along this amount of area. So that area is written here pi r square or pi d square by 4. It is the area of the diameter, area of the circle. Okay, so P is acting at this particular amount of area pi d square by 4 or pi r square. Here pi r square is the area, P is the pressure. Pressure into area gives you the force, because we know that pressure is nothing but force by area. Take area to the left hand side, you will get area into pressure is equal to force. So area into pressure is the force acting at the left hand end. Similarly, pressure force acting at the right end. So P minus dP, the reduction in the pressure at the right hand end, this is the pressure at right hand surface, into again pi r square is the area of the elementary fluid considered. Then the shear force acting in the direction opposite to the motion. So this is the direction and the shear force will be opposite to the motion. This is the direction of motion, for that shear force will be opposite. Okay, so tau is the shear stress developed, multiplied by this amount is the area. So here how the area is calculated? 2 pi r. What is 2 pi r? 2 pi r is nothing but the circumference pi d or 2 pi r. This is the circumference multiplied with the distance of the element, that is dx. So from here to here is the dx multiplied by the circumference. Circumference means throughout the surface, round surface. Okay, circumference multiplied by the length gives you the shear force, shear stress into the area. So these are all the forces considered or maybe developing at this elemental fluid. Consider the equilibrium equation now. For these forces, consider the equilibrium equation. So considering the equilibrium equation, summation Fx equal to 0 because there are horizontal forces. So we need to consider summation Fx equal to 0, that is algebraic sum of all the horizontal forces equal to 0 in the x direction. So P into pi r square, the first one, minus the second term because pressure is opposite at the right hand end, so it will be compressing. So if you put any material in the fluid, it will be compressing. The pressure will be something like this, hydrodynamic pressure. Okay, so at this surface also it is pushing, and at this surface also it is pushing. Fine, minus so and so, minus 2 pi r into tau into dx is equal to 0. Again minus, because shear stress will be always opposite to the motion. Okay, so shear stress is right hand side. So 2 pi r into tau into dx. This is the shear stress all around the circumference. Do not confuse here. 2 tau is there, so we need to apply 2 like that. We have considered the circumference. Circumference means it includes both the tau. Okay, so if you substitute, if you simplify this, so p into pi r square minus p into pi r square cancels with plus p into pi r square, then minus into minus plus dp into pi r square remain as it is. 2 pi r into tau into dx equal to 0. If you simplify this by rearranging and cancelling the term, you will end up with dp is equal to 2 tau by r small r into dx. Call this equation as 1. Then according to Newton's law of viscous flow, we know that tau is equal to minus viscosity into eta into du by dr. Here minus term is used because as the radius increases, velocity decreases. Look at here, as the radius increases, velocity decreases, because this will be the stationary one, this will be the stationary one. At this particular point, the velocity is 0. Okay, as the radius increases, the velocity decreases. Since this is happening, minus term is considered. Substituting the equation 2, I will call this equation as 2. So substituting equation 2 in 1. So substitute for tau here. Equation 1 contains the tau term here. Substitute this term here. You will get dp is equal to minus 2 into eta by r, 2 by r. Tau is this amount. Substitute here, eta into du by dr multiplied by dx, it is there. Okay. Again, if you simplify this, you will end up with du. Take du term left hand side, dp term right hand side, because we need to get the velocity distribution. We need to end up with the flow, rate of flow. For the rate of flow, we need velocity. So take velocity in the left hand side, du is equal to, if you take velocity in the left hand side, dr into dp, dp into dr. Then take 2 eta other side, dp by dx. So dp divided by dx into r into dr. This comes in the numerator. So if you simplify this, you will end up with this one. Call this equation as 3. Now dp by dx is pressure gradient. So pressure gradient is constant, considered as constant here. So since it considered as constant, we need to again integrate equation 3. Now integrating equation 3 with respect to r, small r, because here small r is considered a small elemental radius. So with respect to small r, we need to integrate this one. So if you integrate, du becomes u and dp by dx, it is constant, 1 by 2 eta, only r term will be integrating. Since this is constant, remain as it is, r, integration of r square by 2 plus integration constant c, where c is the integration constant. Now applying boundary condition for this. Boundary conditions at small r is equal to capital R. What is u? U will be equal to 0, because if you consider at the end, capital R means from here to here. If you consider at this surface, the velocity will be 0. Look at here. At this surface, the velocity is 0. At this surface, velocity is 0. So small r here, the small r is considered is from here to here. This is the small r. When r is equal to capital R, the velocity is 0 at this particular surface. Okay. So since r is equal to, when small r is equal to capital R, u is equal to 0, substituting the term for small r as capital R, this term becomes 0, that is equal to c. From this we can get the constant c. C is equal to so and so. You will obtain c is equal to this one. Call this equation as 5. Now substitute for c in equation number 4 here. So here c is a constant of integration. We need to obtain constant of integration c by applying the boundary condition. So after application of the boundary condition, we got c is equal to this one. Substitute this here, you will get the expression for the velocity. So substitute 5 in 4. Substituting 5 in 4, you will get the velocity term. So substituting equation 5 in equation 4, u becomes this amount plus c. C obtaining from the boundary condition, r square by 4 eta into dp by dx. In the place of c in equation 4, substitute this amount. You will end up with, if you simplify this, you will end up with u is equal to r square minus small r square divided by 4 eta into dp by dx. Again you call this equation as 6. So velocity distribution across the capillary tube is parabolic. Why? Because this expression number 6 gives you the velocity distribution where in the right hand side, since we have dp by dx, the gradient, pressure gradient, this specifies the velocity distribution will be the parabolic one, a curve. Okay, and velocity of the fluid will be maximum at the center, and decreases as the small r increases. It is 0 at the capital R, maximum at the center. So u becomes maximum when small r is 0, that is at the center. So substitute in the place of small r 0, you will get maximum velocity. So maximum velocity is equal to small capital R, neglecting the small r, divided by 4 eta into dp by dx. Okay, call this equation as 7. Now if you consider dp, where dp is the difference in the pressure between the left hand end and the right hand end, p and p minus dp. So if I consider the difference dp, the pressure difference, as p1 minus p2, p1 at the left hand side, p2 at the right hand side. So if I consider the difference between the pressure dp as p1 minus p2, then dx, if you consider the elemental fluid, then it is dx. If I consider for the entire length, it is L. So for dx, if I substitute L, and dp, if I substitute p1 and p2 on either side of the capillary tube, then this equation again reduces to u max, velocity, maximum velocity, is equal to capital R square divided by 4 eta multiplied by p1 minus p2, that is dp, divided by L, that is dx. So this expression gives you the maximum velocity, okay, in the capillary tube. Now again our intention is to get the flow rate. Here this is the relation between rate of flow with the factors. So flow rate we need to obtain. So flow rate or the rate of flow is given by dq is equal to u into dA, velocity into the area. Okay, so where dA is the elemental area, we have considered small r as the elemental fluid. So 2 pi r into dr is the area, circumference into the width of that element. So u is equal to 1 by 4 eta into dp by dx into r square minus r square, that is this one. U is equal to 1 by 4 eta, I have considered this term at the end, 1 by 4 eta into dp by dx into r square minus r square, this one, that is u, and dA is this one. So substitute for u and dA here. dq is equal to u is this amount right here, then dA is this amount right here. So dq is equal to u into dA. Okay, if you write it, you will get something like this. We need q, we have dq means for that amount of elemental fluid, dq. So if you integrate this, you will get q. So if you integrate this one, dq becomes q, and you need to integrate with the limit 0 to r, 0 at the center and r, maximum velocity at the center, and 0 at the r, capital R. So integrate between the limit 0 to capital R, you will get q is equal to dq is equal to q, integrating dq is equal to, take all the constant term outside the integration, dp by dx is also gradient which is constant, 2 pi 4 eta, viscosity of the fluid will be constant, take outside, only this varies with respect to the r, 0 to r square minus r into r dr. Okay, so if you integrate this, between the limit 0 to r, and if you substitute upper limit minus the lower limit, and if you simplify this equation, you will end up with this. That simplification is not shown here. You just work out the integration and you just end up with this equation. So if you integrate it and simplify it by applying the limits, you will end up with this equation. Q is equal to 4 r to the power, capital R to the power of 4 divided by, you will end up with this equation. Q is equal to pi capital R to the power of 4 divided by 8 into eta into dp by dx. So this equation gives you the rate of flow. Look at here, in this, in the left hand side we have rate of flow of the fluid in the capillary. In the right hand side we have, in the left hand side, Q, that is the rate of flow of fluid in the capillary. In the right hand side we have R, that is the radius or the diameter, okay, radius, divided by eta is the viscosity of the fluid, dP by dx is the pressure. dP is the pressure or the difference in the pressure, dx is the length. Look at here, we have related this now. Relation between rate of flow of fluid. So this is rate of flow of fluid through capillary, and the factors such as eta, it is there, eta, P, it is there, dP, D, diameter, it is there in the form of R, radius. So diameter will be 2 times the radius, okay. Then L in the form of dx we have there. Again, if you still want to write P as and the length L, if P1 and P2, as I earlier told you, if I consider P1 at the entry point of the capillary tube and P2 at the exit point of the capillary tube, if we consider the difference between the pressure as P1 minus P2, then in the place of dP just substitute P1 minus P2, and if I consider the entire length, dx will be L. So dx something like this, write it as L. So this will gives you the rate of flow, the relation between rate of flow and the factors such as the radius, pressure, viscosity of the oil and the length of the capillary tube. This equation is referred as Hagen-Poiseuille law.